The Holy Gospel according to St. Mark, chapter 6, verses 1 to 6. Jesus departed from there and came to his native place, accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were astonished. They said, "Where did this man get all this? What kind of wisdom has been given him? What mighty deeds are wrought by his hands? Is he not the carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph and Judas and Simon? And are not his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor, except in his native place, and among his own kin, and in his own house." So he was not able to perform any mighty deed there, apart from curing a few sick people by laying his hands on them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. He went around the villages in the vicinity teaching. One thing that occurs to me in reading this Holy Gospel is that when Jesus went to his hometown and began to teach, people were astonished, as we mentioned in the Gospel, and they said, "Is he not the carpenter, the son of Mary?" Now, this is interesting because this is the only Gospel that says carpenter, that he is a carpenter, that calls Jesus a carpenter. Not like, for example, in St. Matthew's Gospel, and the son of a carpenter. But here, St. Mark says, "Is Jesus not the carpenter?" And together with that, it's interesting that Jesus, though he may have been a carpenter, he used very few examples in his sermons about carpentry or from carpentry. His first disciples were fishermen. He talked about things from nature, maybe farming, for example. A farmer goes to sow the seed, or from nature itself, the lambs or the birds, the flowers. So he did not really talk about carpentry in his sermons. Certainly God's ways are quite different from the ways we would think. The next thing that comes to mind is that he was not accepted in his own town. And sometimes it's very hard to talk religion, would you say, or to talk about religion to one's own family members or relatives. It's easier to talk to people who are not related. And this is what Jesus says: a prophet is not without honor, except in his native place. So he was not accepted there, and so he moves on to other places and preaches in other villages. He goes to where he's accepted. And the third thing that comes to mind is that in order for Jesus to work as not only a prophet, but as a divine person, he needs also our cooperation. There, in his own town, the people did not accept him, so he was not able to perform any mighty deed. Then the electricity, I might say, or the atmosphere wasn't conducive for him to work miracles there, besides curing a few people. So we can learn various things from this little gospel, and we see, which applies to our own life, the necessity of prayer, of being open to God's will, and to accept God's will in our life, and to put into practice the things that we believe. So here in Mark's Gospel, we see Jesus as the carpenter. We see that he was not accepted and so moves on to other places. And finally, the necessity of prayer and good works in our own personal daily lives. God bless you. And until next time, goodbye.